Short synopsis. I want to do. Hey, I think French accent is how I learned to play the player, the joker, the clown, the clowner. Yes. Growing up in Cornwall, I was exposed to French, English, and the token person, the token black family or colored family, the token Asian family that ran the Chinese restaurant, of course. And, my aunt was the token Down syndrome individual. So these were phrases and ridiculousness as I grew up, and the influences that have made me ridicule myself and the existence so easily, because it comes up with these contradictions, these ridiculous examples that we use for words. And by the way, this book that people refer to, they said in the beginning there was the Word and the Word was good. That's kind of how that story all starts, right? And yet, here we are today when people say, anyways, they say half of a word, uh, leave out the main consonants like T's. It's not important enough to do that. So, anyways, remember, it was this way, that way, the other way. It was always, but anyway is a one thing. It's a one thing because anyway implies the intention to get something done. And there's only one way to do that for an individual. It is their right way. It may not be the right way because there can be many ways, but the anyway to get something done is an intention. And this is where the right language is the way to get what you want, to manifest your prosperity, to say, it is so. And that's the concept of saying amen. It is frustrating as an evolution to become a better human in that process, to use English as the teaching and then at the end use some gibberish word, amen, and never explain what amen represents. That's the insult to our intelligence. So any idea? Well, when a person says anyway, well, sorry, when somebody says amen, that's the intention. And what they're saying is, it is so. They are saying it from the perspective of them having a connection with God, that doer of deeds, that person who knows better and does better for our betterment, even though we are imperfect and stupid in our choices and make mistakes, that, well, we can tap into an identity which is a non-existent and a made-up fiction that represents a very true concept, that what I think about is what I manifest, and who I am is who I am. I'm a work in progress. I am flawed. I am intelligent, though, and I am ambitious enough to use this brain that has so much fat in there and so much room for improvement. It's like I live in a mansion. I only need one room, but I live in a mansion. And so I can go and explore inside that mansion and spend a night in any one room because I live in a mansion. And I have the influence and the manifesting power to own my own community. Wow. Wow. Right? People are winning $70 million in the lottery. You can imagine what that would do for their life. Their life changes. And with that, they must change the attitude. They must then embrace. And that's a scary thing. Good experience can be just as traumatic as a bad experience. So learning to handle being a wealthy person is a mindset. And it must be looked at and embraced so that a person can handle it. It's a wonderful opportunity to have anything you want, to build yourself into a situation where you can take your ideas and manifest them. You have an invention, well, that's automatically going to happen, and then you can play. Your level of play just goes up so much. And this is what needs to be understood as that evolution into a more prosperous, more successful person, is that you'll take responsibility for that. Yeah, that's a big step. You just need to accept that to be that person, you will be that person. Confusing? Well, I alluded to it, and it's for you to educate yourself to understand it better. I'm just putting it out there that your mindset is where your intelligence plays. And when I have been around the great, wonderful, successful people, the feeling of that energy, it's amazing. It is such a great feeling. Creativity is the purpose. Just as music is really the sound of the drum beating, that life is about having achievement. It is about doing what feels good and doing it in a way that we earn it, where we can feel courageous, where we can feel proud, where we can feel accomplished. Those are the places we want to place experience at. Drugs every day, or some like self-destructive behaviors every day are self-destructive. Just as if you were climbing a mountain every day and got casual about it, well, you could fall and kill yourself. That's a kind of a statistical expectation. Just like any person who's alive will die. Statistically, that's happening. So it's, if you use a drug to the point of addiction, you're going to hurt yourself. If you use anything of yourself in a negative way, then eventually it will erode the person and bring on aging and self-destruction quicker. Which is why I do this video, because I'm getting old and I'm getting validated by talking to myself about the values I have learned. That's pretty well the gist of it. And each of us should have our own validation for our own effort to evolve ourselves. And the example we can bring to others creates the opportunity for others to evolve as well, because they can see it. They can see that, well, that's a better choice. That could even get popular. That could be a dance. So, but that would be the thing, is when you see somebody do something right, they do something good, the example, the actual example, by seeing it by others, not reading in a book, not being told that you were told that you were told that somebody did it somewhere somehow, and the story got stretched out quite a bit. The closer you can get to actual examples, even better to have your own experience of having the opportunity to try something and succeeded at it, and then use that as a building support for trying and succeeding some more. And getting to the point where you're barely trying, you're mostly just doing because you've learned to do it so well, you hardly have to think about what you're doing. And isn't that really the kind of addiction a person wants to have? And yeah, that's so. I had started out by talking about uh, learning how to laugh with myself. When I was a teenager, I decided one day in a deep thought that that would be my life purpose, would be to make people laugh. And I remember that being pretty vague. But yeah, that was just me talking to me. I didn't go on that much about myself with myself in those days, not like now. But yeah, I could have elaborated because I have created the Laugh Master mascot characters and learned to make puppets and costume characters and to do animal airband, animal magic, and mascot magic, and other fun things like that. Yeah, I learned how to make people laugh and went off in a bit of a tangent there. Don't remember what my point was, and so yeah, that's the great thing about getting old. Forget about it. Uh, Laugh masters learn to make people laugh. Uh, uh, Luckily, I learned personal development and military training as well in the evolution of shaking off the old thinking patterns, processes, strategies. Those strategies were getting me results that were really in my worst best interest, my worst interest. Yeah, that's right. That's what I was reaching for. And so, thankfully, I did get that, and got a little bit more discipline. Cannabis was the dog that chased me through life. It's always been a really pleasant feeling, but it does drain, and I think all um, altered state chemicals do that. I think there's a price to pay for any altered state experience. When a person does an activity, they get tired. When a person spends a lot of even brain activity, we get tired. Using alcohol, the person wears them out, gives them a headache and so on. Anyway, that's pretty well a given that there's an expense to pay for every pleasure, and making it legal, I think, in Canada is the best thing that we could have done as a country, because it takes the mystique away from the cannabis, the product itself. It's now like alcohol. People can try it. They can say, well, I don't like that. It makes me this, it makes me that, it makes me the other. They can decide then to try something else. And by having an understanding of even mushrooms has become legal. And microdosing is a smart way to change a mental attitude. And so depression and other mental health issues can be addressed through chemicals, and not a chemical habit or addiction, but a chemical experience. And that's the way it needs to be managed. So if a person, because I understand even ketamine is used for mental health issues, and that's a party drug that I've heard about at parties, as well as people using laughing gas and mushrooms, all the other chemicals, what's the other, ecstasy and so on. People are going for intense mental experiences. They want to create change in their lives. That should be used as a benefit for society, and have community groups that will take a person on a guided adventure for personal development, and give them these kinds of options depending on their best chemical makeup for that, just as people do in psychiatry, where they will prescribe a drug for a certain behavior to change the behavior. That having an experience of a controlled drug experience on something more intense, more intending on physical, physiological change, actually. So they go through the experience, and there is the intent of creating a drastic change to a behavior that may have taken many years to accumulate a response to, or it may have been as a result of a trauma as well. So that's the objective, is to break the pattern of a induced trauma, or I don't know what I had just said, but I don't know the right word for an incidental trauma, like being in a car crash, or witnessing a loved one be harmed, be killed, or something like that. So and other such traumas, child abuse, personal violations, things like that, where it's been a one event thing, or it may have been a prolonged experience of verbal abuse, or what's called gaslighting now, where people use pretense of reality to confuse a person. They basically make up stories to back up their fiction, so and make the other person the perpetrator and the liar, and that. So either or, even the person who is the gaslighter, maybe they need to go through that same kind of experience to shift their behavior of control, and teach them that people have a right to be themselves and choose for themselves, and so on. So there's the argument for altered states for all benefits, to bring humanity to a place where it does learn to love, accept, and understand, and open up the way, because difference is the benefit, and acceptance is the universal dialogue that has to be processed and accepted. Acceptance. Yeah. Basically, embrace difference, so as to create the multiverse, the harmony of the multiverse. Okay, so where are we at? Yeah, see, I can do this without my glasses, but I need my glasses to see things like time and dimensional space, the regular stuff. No, not just I can still see in 3 dimensions, just in a little bit of a blur. Anywho, what you doing? All right, now we're at 1843, 44, 45, and I'm so glad to speak to you, and hope we all survive, and remind us each day in every way I get better and better and better. And have you been told today, I love you? Oh, yes. Be the change. Every affirmation out there is improving our mental health and moving our mental well-being better and better and better each day in the best way. And because there is a movement to interfere with our thought, to teach us double speak, and to confuse the influencer as to what is right, what is wrong, what is reality. And AI is your abacus that used to count. It's the calculator. It's the device we're using now. We don't understand how this phone works, but it works, and it works well. So embracing embracing AI really comes down to the idea of making ideas pure, make them authentic, and make AI responsible to adhere to human values, and the highest value being the consciousness that the human expresses as well. AI will allow us to explore the consciousness of all things. The thinking of the ant, the manifestation of diversity that we have on this planet is extraordinary. And so to use AI to find out what it is thinking will tell us how we've been screwing up for many thousands of years, as we have marched up thinking that we're the top of the pile and that our shit doesn't stink. Well, we are creating a pretty high pile of shit, and it is affecting us because of our arrogance and our unwillingness to be the steward of this planet. And look what we have to show for it. Climate change exists. It has always existed. Our influence needs to be on how to be proactive about it, how to, yes, subtly bounce those meteors off a little bit so the big ones don't hurt us, but at the same time, stop killing humanity and find productive ways of using the population we have, and teach people to take care of themselves so our health is benefited from it. Our productivity is really high, so that can really improve. And manifesting, there is every reason to manifest more. There is really, we know that energy, it's been said that it is neither created nor destroyed. It is simply changed. So that's the existence we have. We have the matter, and then antimatter balances out, but there's more matter than antimatter, which allows it all to stay in harmony in our cosmic existence. So as we know that chaos is around that, we are so lucky and so blessed to live in the cosmic zone. And in that zone for a very short time, we need to get our act together. Stop fighting over ideas and stupid borders, because these borders are there for material value. Well, we have corporate interest, and we should always have corporate interest. And if we want to invest as a community or as a province or a country, then we should have the opportunity to invest. We should not be run by slave owners and dictators. We need to be able to function as a corporate entity, because capitalism in a corporate environment does run smoothly. And there are union aspects to it that look after our best interest. There are also hierarchies that give those who earn it the respect and validation they deserve. And there's the democracy of the temperature of the room. We make sure that those who are capable can do as much as they're capable and give them rewards for that. And those who can do little get to do little, but they do something. And that would be the thing, is we're all doing something and feeling validated for doing something and getting help if we need help. There are the vulnerable. There are those who will need a special interest. They'll have special needs, and they will need special interest in that regard. And that's humanity as well. However, a person in a wheelchair can still think. We know this from, what's that guy's name? Stephen Hawking, right? We know that the value of the brain is, it is a great untapped resource, or barely tapped. We've been tapping it a lot, but not really hard. Anyway, it is science, thinking, involving and evolving. that's what we need to do. Oh, I went over the time. I was just doing a closing and I went over it. Sorry, almost at 26 minutes now. Okay, yeah. See, that's the fun I can get into at this point in the day. I'm just between meditation and just about to take myself into ideation world, and I find myself very creative in this place. Something about the time of day that I notice that I'm thinking, and my thoughts are creative and they're goofy, and we have the tools now to share our goofiness and hope that maybe that will bring a smile to somebody else and an enlightenment. Being enlightened, having the light shine bright from within, outside. That's a wonderful experience, and I hope that for others. I hope that for everyone. Humanity and the life of the human is supposed to be pleasure and enlightenment. You go looking for yourself and find that purpose. Ask yourself, why am I here? And who am I? They're great questions that can expose great answers.